What's going on, rock stars? Yeah, that was actually a different sounding what's going on, rock stars today, because I'm so juiced for the
Yes.
guest that I have on the 1% Live show. And man, I don't even know if my intro can do him justice. So, Rockstar, if you are an entrepreneur of any sort, if you are an influencer of any sort, and you do not know who my guest is, you have been living under a freaking rock. That's all I got to say. Because years ago, he's jumping out of my screen, literally like pattern interrupting the out of my Facebook feed. And I'm like, who is this man? Who is he? He captured my attention. He's capturing the attention of millions of people around the world with his marketing, with his advertising, with his incredible brand and his genius brand. I know you can't all see us right now, but we're both rocking
Hey,
the genius shirt. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, man, what I just want to call, who I want to call the GOAT of
Oh,
marketing.
wow. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that's
strong.
right. That's
I'm
right.
working my way there. But
There
I'll
we
take it.
go.
I'll
There
take
we
the
go.
flowers. Thank
Billie
you. Appreciate
Jean,
you.
welcome to the 1% Life Show. I'm
Thank you.
so pumped to have you.
Thank you for having me. Your energy is contagious. So now, now,
Oh.
now, now I got to bring the fire. You know what I mean? I got to
That's
match the
right. That's
fire.
right.
Yeah.
So good. So, man, can I just start by saying how you and I came in contact? Because it was kind of funny to me. You
Yeah.
might not even realize this. So, I'm on your email list, and next thing you know, I'm in a funnel this deep, and I'm purchasing this stuff, and I'm somehow on a call. It was like the coolest sales funnel ever, and I was like, wow, $1 or free or something like that. Next thing
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think I spent, well, it didn't quite start there. I was on the call with one of your cousins who works at your company,
Yeah.
and it was a good call, but he didn't close me. He didn't close me. And so he texted me back. I was like, yeah, man, I don't know. It was like a 5K program or something like that. I'm like, I don't know. And he texted me back and he says, listen, Billy wants to talk to you. I was like, what?
Oh my God. Yo, I remember
Do you
this.
remember?
You
Yeah.
know what I remember? I never do that shit. And I remember, you know how
I
that
thought
came
that was a
about?
line that you just
No,
pulled.
I swear, this is why I swear on my life, and they'll tell you, not at all. Like, so,
Yeah.
oh my, yeah, that was an interesting time. So I'll let you take your story
Okay.
back,
So
but like,
my take was,
but I want to come into where you can take it, right? So,
I
yeah,
love it.
my cousin, we're going through, so I religiously practice with my sales team. That's like our thing. I love sales. Like I'm a salesman before I'm a marketer. Ironically, most people don't realize that. But anyways, I'm on the phone and we're listening to the callback. I said, oh, how'd that call go? And he's like, oh, I missed. So we listened to it as a group. I'm like, why the fuck did you miss this? I'm like, this is that. And we like broke down the call. I don't remember. And then I said, but this is the lesson you guys have to remember is like, they're not dead. Because someone tells you, no, it doesn't go that well, it's not over. And I was like, I said, hit it right now. I'll show you. And now you can take over.
Yeah, man, it was good. And so, like I train people in sales to be the top 1% in the world.
That's
And
what I heard on your call, I think. I think you were telling Taka this. And I'm like, dude, you didn't close a salesperson? Those are the
buys
easy closers.
everything.
I'm like, come on, man. I remember, yeah, that's crazy. I remember, okay.
Yes, 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 yes. And so, so anyways, you get on the call with me. I was like, I'm like honored. I'm like, okay, cool. But I knew your agenda, right? Like, I'm a marketer too. I'm a salesperson. Like I knew it. And I just was so curious about your process. And for me, it was like, I just want to pay attention to what Billie Jean does right now. And if he's going to get me to say yes, because I just was like, nah, I'm not going to buy it. It's not for me right now. It's not what I need.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't yet been convinced, I hadn't yet been led to the fact that it was for me at the time. So anyways, we get on this call and you were great. We had a great connection. And, it was just, yeah, of course, man. It was like, I just kept reading into how you were asking the questions you were asking. And I knew you were training your team. It was just so good. Next thing you know, I'm giving you guys 5 or 7K,
But I
whatever
think
it was.
also I think we also got along.
Yeah, we
Like with you in
did.
particular, it was like right off the bat. Like sometimes you just talk to people like, oh, that's my people's. Like
Yeah, for
she's one of us.
sure. That's how it was. A couple weeks, maybe a month later, I'm in your studio in San
Yeah.
Diego. And you know what I have to say? And I just got to tell the audience, like, you are not average. You are not average. The welcome you gave me in that studio was beyond anything that I expected.
God, that makes me happy to hear.
Yeah,
That makes
that
me happy.
touch. Like it's about the details and the little touches that
The
people do, right?
experience.
Experience. Yeah, I love that. I mean, guys, I walk in and it's kind of crazy. You're going into Billie Jean's studio, you're like, shit, what's on the other side of these doors? Like, what's going on? And your amazing team just guides me through and they're doing a private tour for me. And then they take me into the room, like the studio.
The
What do you
studio.
call that room? The studio, right?
Yeah.
There's all these beautiful plush chairs and like a theater. There's a huge theater room and there's a stage that you get on and big TVs. And I look over and there's this massive screen and it says welcome, what did it say? It said probably your Billie Jean headquarters welcomes JoanieDhillon or something like that with picture of me. You guys, they went out and found a picture of me and put it on the screen. And it was like just the sweetest thing. I just loved it. It was so good.
That makes me happy because like, I'm one that makes me happy that you appreciated it and that you noticed it, because the one thing I tend to be pretty like mellow, like, and nothing really ruffles my feathers in business, but there is one thing, and that is if I see any of our team or anyone drop the ball with a customer, the team sees a different side of me. So for example, when we have events in person for the studio, people don't realize that 30 minutes before it comes on, I go on stage and I remind how we greet. When someone comes in, how do we make them feel? How do we stand up? How do we approach them? If someone's sitting by themselves, what happens? No one's allowed to be by themselves. Someone's got to go to the bathroom. What do? You walk them there and you open the door, etc. People don't realize we practice. It's a militant action of like, hey, make sure, because to me, I've just been there on the other side where you feel uncared for, and nothing will fuck up your position with the brand ever. But also on the flip side of that is, if we can show them that we care and we're just attentive, we will have their business for life and create a dope relationship, and everyone has more fun. Like everyone's just happier. We're happier. They're happy. I'm like, so, little things like that. Putting
The
your picture
little
up there,
things
it's like,
what
dude,
matter in this state. There's so much disconnect,
yeah. And it's like, you can invest anywhere, and you decide to invest with us. I don't take that for granted. You can go anywhere the fuck you want. Like, and you came here, like that means a lot. And I just remind the team, like, I don't care how big our brand gets. I think everything is always equal. Just even in this right here, I'm on your podcast, but there's a ton of things I can learn from you. And I watch that. I'm listening to what you're doing and how you introduce, and I'm sitting here taking notes just as mutually. Cause I don't think I'm any better than anyone. I just think I'm different, just like you're different. And like, so there's always something to learn. And that's the obsession that we have.
God, so good. I love it. Okay. So people who don't know you, my audience, it's a varied audience, lots of sales professionals on this podcast, lots of, we got coaches, we have lots of sales professionals. Everybody's in sales. I don't know. I think everybody's in sales. Talk to them about, man, who are you? Who is Billie Jean, and why do you do what you do?
Can I give a sales tip before I forget it?
Yeah.
To a bunch of salespeople.
Yeah.
And to people who already have really great coaching in sales. Yeah. There's one thing that I think we forget in the sales process, especially people who are seasoned and professional, and it's this. For any sale you ever miss, ask yourself this question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited was the prospect? That word in particular. And I guarantee you, every single sale that you miss, the excitement level is fucking 4 and down. And the ones that you're making, the excitement level is like 7+. But if you nail the excitement, it's almost never where you will get someone that's a 10 level excitement that won't buy. They'll at least offer you a payment plan or something. But if there's a 10 in that word in particular, because sometimes I think we get so logical, so into the process, so on the flow, but like, it's very simple. If someone's excited, they fucking buy. And my team and I were going over this, and I forget it sometimes too. And before I forgot it on this interview, just reminding everyone, like, that is the factor. If you're in a funk or you're in a groove, are they excited? And if they're excited, you're going to fucking win.
God,
but back to the other question.
That's so good. Oh yeah. Back to the other question. That was fire, by the way. Thank you for that.
Thanks. Sure.
That was amazing. That's going on to the gram, by the way. Okay. So listen, like let's go back to that question. Like, who are you? Who is Billie Jean, and why do you do what you do?
Yeah. I think I'm just a guy who's really good at selling shit online and generating leads. That's at the core
Mm-hmm.
of, my skill set, so to speak, or what I'm probably, known for. And then going a step deeper than that, now I'm a guy who got obviously work hard, but I had a lot of blessings in my life too. I got a lot of luck. I got great parents who took care of me and put me in the right opportunities. I have great friends and great people around me. So I feel the word that's been obsessing my brain in the last year is duty. Right now, I'm just a guy who feels a lot of duty to pull people up. And especially minorities, me being Black, like who are missing so much education because the infrastructure of the country is not set up to distribute information to people who don't have.
Right.
And I hate that. And,
And when
and
you
but
say
that's
education,
white, Black, Mexican. I don't care what you are. Anybody who's in poverty or living in an unsafe situation, there's such a disconnect and a lack of real fucking information that can change people's lives. And I'm a facilitator of that.
wow, that's great. That's great. Man, that's great. I don't even drop the F-bomb, and I almost dropped the F-bomb on this show. So I love that. But who was Billy the Kid? That's not, I had to say, like, who was Billy?
Billy the Kid was a cowboy. No, I I was, class clown, probably.
Okay,
I
I
was
could see.
my dad's been in sales forever. So like sales, I was always selling. My dad used to make me sell to leave the house. If I wanted to go to a party, he'd say no on purpose to see how I would overcome. Like that was his thing. So
Wow.
I've been practicing sales objections. It's like forever, like my for real practice, right? But like honestly, what did I do? I mean, I played sports. I played football. I played volleyball. I was on ASB. I did our morning.
Okay.
I was like vice president freshman year and shit like that. In college, I went to University of San Diego. I was a social chair of fraternity. And so, I went to private Catholic school my entire life. Family,
Mhm.
both parents grew up on welfare,
Okay.
Southeast San Diego. So
Wow.
I have perspective tattooed on my wrist and vision tattooed on my wrist because I had a very, I'll call it dualistic in some senses, but I had a very unique perspective of the world because I saw poverty, violence, drugs, and I also saw the wealthiest people in the world. So I think I'm
Wow.
somewhere in the middle of that. And I think that's why I feel so much duty because I realized that I could have very easily been a millimeter away from a completely different life, completely different. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel probably so lucky is because I just see how close it was that I could have. My mom was one of 13. I got lucky that I came from her and she had a good head on her shoulders and got a good job working for the state, for 30 years. That was
Mhm.
luck.
Mm,
Could have been on drugs.
right.
You know what I mean? And not like anybody could be on drugs, like most people were. Like, I got uncle murdered for like drugs and shit, like grandfather murdered, like saw people go to prison, like drug, like that was prevalent. So close. And with that, I just, then going to school like USD, acronym for University of Spoiled Daughters, it's like when you see some of the richest people in the world, and then you look at these two lives and you're like, why do these people have and these people don't? And to me, the word is, well, there's a lot of reasons for that. But,
Right.
a big word that comes to mind too is like the gap. There's such a gap in education,
Mhm.
like the things that were standard to some of my college friends, the things that they knew, like the fact, like they knew about the stock market. No one ever in my whole life talked about a stock market before in my whole entire life. And some of these, girls and guys, they were heavily invested into the market and like knowing it. I'm like, who are you? Like, so there's just so many little things. And that's a small example, but like just so many little advantages that people believe that they are just smarter and they know, but no, they were just born in a better environment where they had more resources and they take it for granted, unfortunately.
So you believe there's an element of luck?
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, anyone who doesn't is crazy. I mean, it's just the arrogance that would be involved in. You have to be you would have to have the biggest God complex to really believe that there's no luck in your game.
Mm.
Now having said that, I'm very confident in my fucking skill set. Like
Right.
I'm all me guy. Like I work, but I would be a fool to not realize that I got lucky when my parents sent me to private Catholic school.
Got it.
That I got lucky that that I happened to be, you know, physically gifted and played sports and was well liked. I was lucky that I got that, right? Like those things, that I was lucky that my dad had, you know, good personality. He was in sales. So naturally I had a good personality, and I was able to be like, I was lucky that, you know, like I was able to always do good with girls and like be like, you know, a good looking kid and shit, you know, like
Right.
those
That
were,
helps your confidence.
well, watch this. It massively helps your confidence. I didn't realize that until later.
Mm.
And so finally, when I'm an adult and I'm making decisions for myself the first time, well, I already got all these wins that were stacked on me from just me being lucky. I didn't control any of those things. But what
Right.
people don't realize is the disconnect that comes with that armor that I developed and that confidence. And that was a blessing. That was a gift. And that's why duty is my thing, is because
I
I'm
love
so
that.
aware of all of those gimmies that I got. Now it's like, okay, well, who would I be to not like want to help more people and give back and to help them, give them some luck so that they can then do some things intentionally, you know?
Yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful. That word duty right now is really
Mhm.
resonating with me.
Duty, right? It's good. It
Duty.
felt the same way to
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Really resonating with me. So, yeah, thanks for that. And you didn't just get here.
I
Right?
didn't just get it.
You didn't
Absolutely not.
just get here. Like you're
Not
running
at
it,
all.
what?
Not at
I'm
all.
assuming easily an 8-figure business,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah, yeah, yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
like
last year we
driving a
did over 10 mil.
Ferrari, did over 10 mil last year,
Yeah, yeah.
like that's I mean, what percentage of entrepreneurs, if you even last past your
I
first
think it's
year or
six
two,
out of 100,000 ever do 10 million a year plus. 6 out of
6
100,000.
out of
Yeah.
100,000
And that's then honestly,
entrepreneurs.
that's including, you know, funded companies, et cetera. So people who started from
Yeah.
nothing, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
think
with
the number is
major
probably
capital backing them, right?
exactly. I think it's drastically lower. So, and yeah, by the way, like I hope people don't mistake me realizing how much good fortune I had for anything of discrediting myself. Like
Mhm.
I'm the
Talk
shit.
about that. Talk
Like
about that
I
though.
practice. I practice like a motherfucker. I
Mhm.
practice sales. I practice marketing. I invest heavily into my education. I fucking
Mm.
make it happen. I make no excuses. If something happens, I just figure it out. I make it happen. So I don't want anyone to think that because I'm aware of, you know, some fortunes in my life doesn't mean I don't fully take pride in what, you know, I've created, et cetera. And, you know, and what I've created with my team together as a unit. Again, I didn't do it by myself, right? Like
Right.
that's another, like, so yeah, without question, I had to bust my ass.
But what was the moment that like you realized, oh shit, like did you know you were destined to be great, or was there a moment that like everything changed for you? It's
Well,
like,
because I got that confidence early. Like I always
mhm.
had, I didn't know, I wouldn't know I was destined to be quote unquote great. I still think I have a wildest word to be great, but I did. That was always the plan, is to be fucking great.
Mhm. I love that.
The
You
plan
knew
was,
that when you were young though, right? Like there
yes,
was an
yes,
inner knowing.
there was.
I love
Yeah.
that.
And
And
go ahead. Yeah.
no, no, no. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. I, I don't know if it's so much as like, I was so destined to be great or to be great. I just, I feel so capable. You know what I mean? Like when I look at, you know, someone like The Rock or Kevin Hart, to me, I don't go, but that's The Rock or Kevin Hart. To me, I go, what's the gap? What's the gap and how do they have an edge on me? Because I'm gonna fucking make up for it and go 2
I
times
love
bigger.
that.
You know,
That's
it's the
so
confident to achieve. You know what I mean? And some people hear that, they're like, you'll never be as big as The Rock. And okay,
But what if people weren't
watch.
raised with your parents that instilled that in you? What if, I mean,
Yeah, I
obviously they
think.
weren't raised with your parents,
Yeah.
right? So,
Right.
or if their parents didn't have that, can they still achieve what you're achieving? Can they still get where?
100%.
Mhm.
However, I learned from one of my coaches, Jim Bunch, and this has resonated with me. So it's been right here, is no
Mhm.
woman or no man is greater than their environment.
Mm.
So if someone needs to make a
So
switch,
true.
yes, they can do it, but they may not be able to do it with the environment that they're in.
Powerful.
Meaning, you know, when I say environment, I'm talking 360. I'm talking about their friends, what they listen to, what they watch physically,
Mhm.
where they're located, you know, are they getting into nature? Like all of those things, their environment. And so, you know, again, my thing that got me, like, I'll be real with you,
Mhm.
as great as I think I am, if I didn't have the private Catholic schools and I wasn't exposed to the other side of life, I would not be where I am today.
Mm.
Because I wouldn't have known it existed and it was feasible.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, totally.
that's to me why I probably feel even more duty is like, you know, like if all I knew was like how my parents were raised,
Mm-hmm.
I would have probably ended up achieving something like they did, which is a good life. My dad did well in sales in the automotive industry. My mom had a solid county job, and relative to where they came from, to me, they've accomplished way more than I have, considering what I had. That's how I feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, like I think the environment, like, and even when
your
people,
environment will always shape you,
yeah,
right?
and then
Like
people
there's
talk because they say, okay, well, you know, what about the stories where you hear where someone like came from the hood and they made it? Well, they had an
Mhm.
environment shift, and that
They
environment sometimes
did.
was a person.
Yep,
A per
exactly. A
There was,
mentor, a
yeah,
person they came
it was
across who
something
got them to
exactly.
think bigger,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And
yes.
that's powerful. And so what you're saying and what I hear you saying is find the person that you can latch onto that, you
Yes.
know, you're riding their coattails and
Yeah,
you're
like
learning from them.
if you're in a spot right now where every fucking person around you is a negative Nancy, they're not achieving anything, etc., and all you do is you watch Netflix and that's what you put into your brain, that person is not just going to all of a sudden wake up on the other side of the tracks. So what I want everyone to focus on is not so much of like, oh, you know, this business I did this, but change your fucking environment and all those other things will fall into place. Right. And some people, guess what? Some people, you know what you need to do right now is stop talking to your fucking parents. Some people need to legit cut off their parents. Some
Yes.
people need to pack up everything and move.
Mm-hmm.
Pack it all up, move to a whole different state.
So
Scariest thing you'll
true.
ever do. But when you do that and you start creating a new environment, okay, I'm gonna join some Facebook groups that are free, you know, with some badass entrepreneurs. Okay, I'm gonna stop watching the Netflix. I'm just gonna watch like Tony Robbins talks on YouTube. You know, instead of listening to like the hyphy music and all the crazy music or whatever, or the emo music, I'm just going to listen to podcasts like this. I'm just like, now with technology, we have the ability to create our environment like ever before.
That's
Period.
right.
But you
That's right.
gotta dump the friends and the family that are holding you back. And by the way, if here's an honest question,
Mm-hmm.
would you hang out with yourself? Like, listen to your thoughts every day. Like, write down what you think when you think it, and then read them back in the day and say, would you hang out with that person?
Mm.
Because a lot of you are like, shit, I gotta run away from myself. Exactly. It's time for a change. It's time for a change.
That's right. And what better time than now? The person I believe, and thanks for that, Billy, when people come into what you came into this, you know, pandemic, who you came into this pandemic as is not who you are now. You have
Mm.
changed. You have changed. You may not have changed for the better. You might have changed for the
Yeah,
worse,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
you have
yeah.
changed.
Yep.
And I believe that we're going into, man, we're going into some stuff.
Mm.
And you have the ability to choose and decide who you want to be when going out of this, right? Like as we
Yes.
shift out of this.
100.
Yeah, that's environment is key. You got to do some research, figure who is it, who is the person, who's the mentor, who's the community, the group, the things that you should
Yeah.
be listening
And then
to.
here's the other one is, what are
Mm-hmm.
the skills you have to acquire to make a shift?
Let's talk
And
about that.
and this is for everybody. You can do that in any environment you're in right now. That part, the skills you can acquire. Like, everyone can learn something that enables you to make more money. Right now, it may not be the easiest thing to do, and you may have a lot of distractions. Okay, do it anyway. I don't care. Like, but everyone can learn something right now that will
Mm-hmm.
put you in a position, because that's what making money is. It's a trade, and people are willing to pay more for unique shit. So
I
if you
love
have a
that.
unique skill, they'll pay you more. If the only thing you can do is go outside and mow the lawn, then you are going to make mow the lawn money, which everybody can do. That's what everyone feels like they can do. Therefore, you're not going to charge that money. And if you're top tier, you're still not going to make that much money. You got to be able to solve unique problems.
Mm,
Period.
that's powerful. Yeah, solve problems. So, what was the one unique skill that Billy Jean focused on?
You give me a laptop and a phone in any business in the world, and I'll bring them customers. That.
Mm,
And it's a powerful one, because every single business operates off of sales. And if I can be the
right.
guy to bring them sales, I'll never have to worry about money. And when I realized that, and I obsessed about that for the last 12 years, which I have, that's what got me here today.
Dang, that's so good. So good. So, how does one stand out in a noisy world? It's freaking noisy out there.
Uh, One is, you can't be in the middle. No one's remembered who's in the middle right now. Like, if you're the
That's
person
good.
that's like, hey, you know what? That's a good point. And also, that's a good point too. Honestly, just
Mm-hmm.
stop. because you have to choose a side. You really want mass attention, et cetera. You have to choose a side, and you have to, and the reason why most people are afraid to do that is because of all the negativity that comes with it, right? Like all of the, once you choose a side, now the other side can take a shot at you.
Right. And then you
Most
could
people are
potentially
uncomfortable.
lose customers. And then it's like, it's like now I'm being judged. I heard you talk about this on your most recent podcast.
Mm,
And it was about why are more influencers, we won't go down that road right now, but why aren't more influencers talking about these real topics that are going on in the
yes.
world right now? They're playing it so safe
Yep.
because they're scared.
That's exactly why. Yeah. They're scared and selfish, as we all are, right? At the
Mm,
end of the day, everyone is just doing what is in their own best interest. But at the same time, that is the biggest challenge to the world, right? If everyone stopped doing things in their own interest and did what's in the best interest of everyone, then there would be world peace, which is a really hard challenge.
right. Stop thinking about self.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's one thing I noticed. I pay attention to a lot, and I pay attention to all the influencers out there who really impact my world.
Hmm.
And you were one of the very first people after this pandemic hit to put out an offer to the market.
Mm,
You were one of the first people to start selling.
mm,
So
yeah.
I'm curious, when the shit hit the fan, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, so stuff started getting bad, and you're thinking about your business, as we all are, right?
Hmm.
What's going to happen? How is this going to impact me? What next? Like, what do I do? Do I keep, and I don't know what's going through your head, but how does someone like you at that time, how did you begin to think and
Yeah.
then do?
Well, I think the first thing is like creating a brand where people know I'm going to sell. I think that was the
Mm,
biggest thing because if some people are afraid to make offers and they end up friend zoning themselves, right? Like where it's uncomfortable if they make an offer, so they're damn like a lot of people not making offers. They weren't even making offers before the pandemic, right? They weren't doing that. So now it was just a self-realization to not have to do anything, right?
right.
And also, I'm a big believer in this is it's never what you say, it's how you say it. So yeah, I definitely made offers, but it wasn't the same offer of like, hey, buy my shit. I'm Billy, blah, blah, blah. Like, look at my Lambo bullshit to get people's attention, right? It changed. It
Right.
was me on a selfie phone outside of my house at nighttime saying,
Mm-hmm.
yo, this world is crazy right now, but guess what's not going to change? You're still going to need to make fucking money. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it was diving into the conversation. So what gave me, I guess, the confidence to do that is the how I went about making the offer versus, offer. Because the thing is like, and also too, it's ironic. Like the thing that brings the economy back is everyone making
Right.
offers.
It's
So
like
putting things like that in the ad copy, P.S. By the
powerful.
way, not
Mm,
making ad like offers is exactly what has everybody fucked up in the first place.
so
Like,
good.
and then I would tell people like in the comments, and we would pin the comments and say, hey, if you're the person right now that's afraid to sell, don't forget you have a duty to your team, your employees, your family, etc. And it doesn't make you a bad person or selfish for doing so. And everybody liked and engaged it.
So
So it's
good.
really just anticipating what those trolls would say and then saying shit before they say it so they look like idiots if they comment some dumb shit.
So good. Well, and that's fascinating that you just said that, because I was watching it. I was really looking through your comments. I even, like there was a couple in there. I was like, justify like, is this
Yeah.
guy real? Is he the, and I was like, stood up for you.
Appreciate you.
And yeah. Got you back, man. Got you back. But it was like, there was not a lot of that. There was not a
Mm,
lot of bashing for doing it. And it was because of what you just said. You anticipate the trolls and you anticipate the thing. And it's not like you go into it with that, but during that time, there was some sensitivity involved.
for sure.
Right.
And listen,
And
like at the same
mm-hmm,
time, it's like we didn't, I guess it's just, I just embraced those. I embraced that full on knowing that that's going to come with it, right? There's going to be
right.
people who I just never took it personally because I understand it's just coming from the place of their own fear, right? And I feel sorry. I want to hug them, right? It's like I get why they're saying it. They're just usually hurt, And
Right.
so when I realized that, it doesn't feel like I don't get upset about it. I just want to help them even more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And what I love about you, one of the things that I really love about you is that you just don't give to what's like you just don't. And it's because, like you said, you can't be in the middle. You have to be noisy, right? Like and I don't think that's why you do what you do. This is just, it's who you are,
Mhm.
right? Your podcast called what, Billie Jean Offends the Internet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
By the way, check it out, peeps. It's incredible.
Thank you.
I listened to like the first 6 seconds and I was like, whoa. I
It's
texted
definitely
you
one of
right
those.
away. I remember I
Yeah.
was like, yo, this is crazy. It was awesome. But it's it's not for somebody who can't handle.
Yeah, I think too, going back to that confidence, is like now at this point, we have
Mhm.
almost 100,000 customers in 75 countries.
Wow.
So to me, like we've changed so many lives and had videos and words texted. It is so hard for me to pay attention to like a naysayer. It's like, it
Love it.
means so little, right? Like,
So good.
it's just like one person who's disgruntled, like trying to be loud, like one, like you can just block them, like
It's true.
but then
Get rid of
secondly,
them.
it's just like relative to like the people, I'm just not focused on that, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm just focused on the good and the
And
helping.
that's what makes you unique, because most people are so focused on how will I be judged. Uh,
Right.
Alexa's talking to me right now,
Uh,
but most people are, apparently I need water. Most people are so worried about how they're being judged that they won't go out and do the uncomfortable, right? So
yeah.
yeah, what are 3 attributes that leads me to this? Like, let's just, if we were to narrow it down, if Billie Jean was to narrow it down, 3 attributes that will make a successful marketer, what are they?
Number one, being different. And I know it just sounds like so cliche, but like what happens is when people go into messaging or advertising, etc., all of their fears come to the surface. What are people going to say? What are people going to be think, etc.? And the way to avoid people saying anything is to be just like everyone else, right? Well, if I just do what I've seen other people do, then they're not going to say that much about me. So when I say be different, it's actually harder to execute on than most, because different opens up and invites judgment, ridicule, criticism, and greatness.
Mm.
Right. So being different and being ready for the battle that comes with it. Secondly is creative in regards to your offer, though. Marketing and messaging, all of it, it's just about having a sick offer. If you have a sick offer,
That's
you'll
good.
make a lot of sales. And I just want everyone to remember that, like, if you're jammed, like, God, no one's coming to me, it's just your offer sucks. And the
Yeah.
beautiful thing about that is you can change it, you know, but like
That's good.
$5 foot long, biggest franchise in the world, Subway. They make a song about their offer, $5 foot long. And people are like, sounds good. McDonald's is like, oh, dollar menu, $1. And I've used those examples because they're the biggest franchises in the world, number one, number two, right? And
Mhm.
so, but they're offer based. They get you in there. Hey, come in and also play Monopoly, and they put Monopoly tabs on their thing, and you can win this. It's the offer. It's just one big game of making offers. And when you get that, but what happens is so many people are rigid in their thinking. They work in a box and they say, well, this is my business, this is what it is, and this is all I can offer. Well, you cannot win in this marketplace.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing.
So you got to figure out how to package, price, and like market your offer in a compelling way,
Yeah.
right?
Like, if it's a gym, it's like come in and work out for free for a day, come in for a week, or come into our boxing gym and we'll give you a free pair of gloves.
Mm,
See, you even did that.
sexy.
Like
Yeah.
that's the game
Yeah.
right there. That right there. If it
That's
doesn't have
right.
that, you're
Will
going to
they be
lose.
pink?
They watch
They
this.
could be.
Honestly, no, a client of ours, that's exactly what they did before we were working with them. They did that and it worked like crazy. It worked like crazy. Pink
So
gloves,
good.
that was a real thing.
So
So yeah,
good.
you're nailing it. Like that's the whole game. That's the whole game. And people spend no time on it, and they act
Mhm.
like they're stuck and handcuffed into something. No, you're not stuck. Change it.
So what is
Speak.
it required to think like that? What is it,
Well, I
where do
mean,
you
the
get into that
easiest,
place?
love to like Google examples, right? Like go in your industry and just type in like 20 best fitness promotions or 20 best real estate offers or 20 most creative advertising campaigns or like,
Mm, I love
top
that.
100 best marketing slogans. You know what I mean? Like just Google. And then, that's actually a good question because a lot of people think creativity is like something you're born with.
Right.
No, someone who's really creative is just, they study the game the most. So they can be more creative because they have more tools. I'll give it to you. Let's say you have a hammer, but I have a hammer, a screwdriver, a shovel, a bulldozer, etc. I will be more creative than you on any given day because I just got more weapons. I just got more weapons. And so that's what I want everyone to think about with their business is like, if you only know one trick and one way to sell, your creativity is going to be lapsed. This is why you have to get smarter, like as a business owner. And so when I can understand Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and email and text
Mhm.
messaging and radio and television, I just got more weapons. I got more weapons so I can do more things. When I have different products that I can do, if I can give this away for free and sell something in the back end, you know, the movie theaters, right? Hey, give away the movie, sell the popcorn. Like
Right.
that's the game. That's the whole game.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so if I don't ask you this question, my Facebook ads guy will just kill me.
Okay.
I had to ask him. All right,
Yeah.
so I'm going to be on this call. So he asked me this: can you share your video ad creation process, and how you scale from $100 a day to $5,000 per day? For those who don't understand, in ad spend.
Yes, good question. Number one is realize that
Thank you, Johnny.
the things that work for $100 rarely work for the things that are $5,000 a day. So a lot of people that test $100 something, they say, okay, time to scale it up. And sometimes the metrics just don't work, because as you're going to spend more, you're going to a broader market, which means less people are going to convert, and innately your things are going to there. So for example, if you spend $100 and your cost per sell is $10, you know, expect it when you start to scale that your cost per sell is going to go to 20 or $30. And if it still works, then that's something to go all in on. Most people go, I spend $100, my cost per sell is $10. Ooh, this is working. And then they expect to have that same cost per sell when they grow. And it almost never works like that. So as far as like macro thinking, it's like, if your shit's going to win, you got to really, really win. In addition to like, what's my video creation process? It's the same every time, which is one, get specific on who's going to see the video, because that changes the message 100%. If I'm talking to a single mother, it changes to if I'm talking to a dad of 5 who's providing. If I'm talking to a teenager just getting out of high school, is way different than I'm talking to a 36-year-old female who's da 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 da. So number one, it's impossible to nail it if you don't have who you're speaking to, right? Classic.
Okay.
And then the second thing is, I ask myself, what are the biggest problems that they're facing, right? What are the biggest problems that they're facing, and how does my product or service solve that? And that is how I come up with the great offers, because the offer is based on, if you can solve someone's problem and you can do it for them fast or resistance free, then they're going to fucking buy from you. Right. So that is my process. And that's how my video scripts go. It's just like, hey, you know, if you're a real estate agent in the San Diego area, then I know right now the hardest thing to do is to get approved for jumbo loans. And here's 3 ways to do it. If you'd like me to show you, click the button and I'll do it for you right now. You know, that was really rough, but everything follows. I mean, now I've done it for so long, like it doesn't, when someone hears my message, they won't see it like that, but it's always happening.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. He'll be thrilled.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
Sure.
So I'm curious. I want to be respectful of your time. I've got a couple minutes left. What keeps you up at night?
Well, I was telling my team this morning. What keeps me up right now, as of late and during quarantine, is I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fucking blow the fuck up. I'm ready to go on. Like Gordon Ramsay is the guy who I'm actually looking at the most. He's got extremely successful restaurant chains. He's had, you know, dozens of shows, mass success. He is the guy when you think of cooking, period, the most infamous in the world in his craft. And he's excellent at it. I'm ready to go. Right. I see Kevin Hart on Joe Rogan. I'm like, Kevin Hart should have been in Genius Studios. I'm ready to go. Right. I'm ready to fucking go. I feel like we have every resource in that we need. We have the team, we have the skill set, we have everything. I'm ready to fucking go. So what keeps me up at night is, you know, what's the best path to do that? How do I go fast and profitably, right? And help a bunch of people along the way? How do I go from 100,000 students to 1 million? So what's got me up right now, I'm ready to fucking go.
God, I love it. So much fire. So good. So that leads me to this. So there's a lot of people hurting right now, right? I just heard some numbers, over 40 million people have lost their jobs or their wages, right? Their income right now, and it's going to increase. So for somebody who's feeling like, what do I do? What are my options? I personally believe you can't put your life or your faith in the hands of an employer anymore. It's been made so freaking obvious. You know, I mean, 85% of my audience is no job, right? Actually, 100% of them have no job. They're not working. Maybe a few are doing phone sales, but they have no job. Most of them got laid off, right? 15% can go back and they think it's going to be the same. It's not. It's not. And so what can somebody who's struggling to make money in their life right now, what advice do you have for them?
I have the only advice. Well,
I love it.
Not the only advice, but I have what I believe is the most critical for people. And they're not going to like it. is you
Okay.
have to learn something new,
Okay.
period. Like, salespeople, I'm a salesperson, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I get it. And, but the problem is your salesperson bigger than an employer that you're going to be, dependent on. What you're always going to be dependent on is someone else to generate your leads. If you're only a salesperson, you're always going to rely on, maybe it's the company that's generating leads, but you're always going to be waiting for someone to talk to. So if
Mm-hmm.
you can become the marketer and the salesperson, well, now you made yourself bulletproof,
I
because you're
love
the
that.
person who can press a button and get somebody on the phone, and then you know how to close because you're already a freaking closer. So
So good.
what's the thing to do right now? Learn how to fucking advertise, learn how to market, learn how to generate that. Because when you can do that and you stack your sales skills, you will be unstoppable.
Mm.
And you also too, like every single company right now, some people are like, oh, I don't need a salesperson. I'll just figure I'll do it myself. Right. But everybody's saying, oh, fuck, I sure would like some more people to talk to right now. And if you can be the guy or girl to do that, it's amazing. What's beautiful about it is it's all brain work, right? It's very little technical. People see like the Facebook ads, the technical part. I'm telling y'all, it's like the easiest part. Even if you suck at tech, you'll get that like 1 week of actually doing it. You'll get past that.
Right.
Max a month. Let's say it takes you 3, who cares? But if you can be the rainmaker, the person who generates the leads, the one who brings in the opportunities, that to me is the safety
That's
part.
huge. That's huge. Yeah. People are dying to talk to somebody right now. They're just give me somebody to talk to,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
That's powerful. Oh my God. Great advice. So who do they go to?
Buy my shit. Let's stop playing.
I love it. I heard you say that
Buy
on the
my
podcast.
shit.
Like, just buy my shit.
You guys know this is your guy. Like, I'm not just saying that like hype.
Right.
Like we been doing it for a decade, 100,000 students, 75 countries. We got something for you. We got that. We'll walk you through it. That's what we do.
Yeah, so good, so good. And I'm definitely want to know where should they go to buy your shit, Billie
Well,
Jean.
first, they should just listen to my podcast,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Billie Jean is marketing offends the internet Monday to Friday. They're 5 minutes, so you will continue to listen to this,
Yes,
right? And
you will.
you will listen every single day, no matter what. You will listen to everything. You will go. But in addition to that, after this, listen to my thing. Billie Jean is marketing offends the internet Monday to Friday. Let me actually give a fair warning.
Yeah,
It is so inappropriate. I curse all the
totally.
time. Like if you're not in that, please do not listen because you will be offended. But
Or
if
just
you
choose to not be offended.
or choose not to be, exactly, and take away. And then
Yeah.
also too, it's
Some
entertaining.
people are always looking to be offended. Just choose to not be offended because there's value in there.
100, right? And then it's highly entertaining, but also too, I just spit real business lessons about trending topics every single day. That's it.
So good.
Billie Jean
So
is
good.
marketing offends the
Yeah,
internet.
the gene is not how you think. Gene is Gene, by the way, Billye.
That's a good catch. That's a good call.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
do confuse that.
yeah. They
Yeah,
won't find you. They won't find you,
yeah.
man.
Thank
So
you.
good, Billie. You're amazing. You're incredible. Respect the game so much,
Oh,
and
thank you.
yeah, you are changing so
This is
many
a fun
lives.
interview.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's
I
fun for
did.
me
Thank you.
too.
Thank you for
So
having me. I
good.
appreciate you.
So good. Where can they find you on Insta?
Billie Jean is marketing.
Billie Jean.
BILLYGENE.
That's
It's
right.
marketing. Billie Jean is
It's
marketing.
marketing.
Yeah.
That's good. So good. All right, man. Thank you so much. I hope you guys got so much value. If you did, take a screenshot of this, tag me, tag Billie, do whatever you got to do. Share this out, leave a review, do whatever you got to do, but do the thing. Like, stop listening to stuff and start taking action. If there's one thing that I hope you learned in this podcast from Billie, it's like, you've got to learn a new skill. You have to be in a new environment, and that environment will allow you, well, just start learning the skill now. That environment will shift for you, and that will change your life.
Boom.
That will change your life.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
so much. So good. All right, everyone. Get out there, change some lives today. Peace.